Hi, guys, and welcome back to the world's greatest reality show, Great Britain in 2020. A country so exceptional, it imposed economic sanctions upon itself. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much, yeah, for everyone who has sent me a message, and a special thanks yeah, to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up. So thank you so much for that. Right. Also, I will go through all your messages. Yeah, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. Even the ones who disagree with me, even them. Right. So, Insulate Britain again. They're not out today. Well, not so far. But yesterday they was out, and they was actually out in three locations. Right. So and they glued their hands to the floor and they glued their hands to the floor and all that thing. But then a lot of I saw one scene where people was pulling them out of the where members of the public got out and started pulling them out of the way, which obviously suits the government's cause because Boris Johnson was just on the just on LBC calling calling them irresponsible crusties. And see, that's probably the way to deal with it, right? No, no, because what that does is that's now giving the members of the public carte blanche, right, to start interfering with these people when they see them out demonstrating. Do you know what I mean? And really, right, they shouldn't. No one should be putting hands on these people. Especially I'm looking at like grown men dragging old people out of the road. Do you know what I mean? And you think to yourself, well, this is not right. Do you know what I mean? They shouldn't be. They certainly shouldn't be doing that. Do you know what I mean? I know it's inconveniencing them, but they shouldn't be going to those type of lengths. Do you know what I mean? And I hope the police go and grab hold of all of them for assault. That would be a good use of the police's time because the police needs to send a message to these type of people that behaviour is not acceptable. But obviously, the Prime Minister's language is not really acceptable on this type of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's completely unacceptable. But look, let me ask you this, right? There was some demonstrations yesterday, right, at the Tory conference. There was some demonstrations there. Do you know what any of those demonstrations was about? Hmm? Any of them? Do you know what any of those demonstrations was about? I bet you don't, right? No. Well, apparently some people went down there. Must be some pig farmers or whatever to demonstrate. Went down there dressed as pigs to demonstrate. Right? What did you hear about it? I only know about it because I had to really go and search to find out. So because I know for a fact, right, that if your demonstration, right, or your protest, right, doesn't like disrupt, right, then nobody is listening to you. You can go to hell. Nobody cares what you think, right? If you don't disrupt, nobody cares, right? So that's why Insulate Britain's tactics, right, are really hitting through, and the government's like, well, they want to take out all sorts of different orders on them. Say, well, if they, people are demonstrating this way, they can get 6 months, up to 6 months in prison and unlimited fines, right? But you see, all of that, yeah. You might think to yourself, you know what, yeah, well, that's good that they're doing that for Insulate Britain, but that, right, will be used, right, on your demonstration as well. Right. So whatever you want to go and demonstrate out, might want to go and demonstrate about the treatment of kittens, right? But you know what? If you get too rowdy, Priti Patel will come with her hardline self, her authoritarian way, and throw your ass in prison for 6 months. Right? That is why these people shouldn't be allowed to get these type of powers. Right? People should be able to protest and demonstrate. Right? That is, we live in Great Britain. Right? And Great Britain is supposed to be a free society. It's not fucking Churnaman motherfucking Square, right? So we shouldn't have like members of the public, right, getting involved in protests, right, and dragging people out the road. And the government certainly should be handling this a lot better. They should try handling it like grown-ups, right? And that's the thing. There was a discussion on the radio about it last night, yeah, and they're saying, well, it's terrorism. But you just think to yourself, you're throwing around like all words like that, right? Which doesn't help the situation. Doesn't help the situation at all. Do you know what I mean? Right? Because there's far too many people who they're trying to turn against this particular group. You know, and people are saying, oh well, I agree with you, and you've made your point, and they made sure that right all day and all day yesterday and all day today. Yeah, so far they've had like running this, a woman who confronted them yesterday, because her mum was, I believe, her mum was in an ambulance on her way to the hospital, and the woman was following, right? So so they've got that woman on there, screaming at them, saying it's her mum, her 81-year-old mum, and all these things. But all those things, yeah, is to turn the members of the public, right, against, because the press are in this with the government, the media's in this with the government, just like the media's in everything else with the government, right? They're all in it together, right? So there was another protest down there as well, yeah, which was about cladding. The solid petrol, what they wrap around buildings, what they put working class people in. That cladding. Yeah. So there was a demonstration down there about that yesterday. Did you hear about that? No. How much people died in Grenfell Tower? How much people died? Do you know what I mean? Right. And there's still right. Do you know something, right? In saying that, right? Do you know a man I think it's the first person so far, yeah, who's committed suicide, right, over the cladding issue. Because there's a man, he had either 3 or 4 flats in one block, right, and I think he just got a bill for like, it was something like £50,000 for each flat. Do you know what I mean? So he's ended up committing suicide. Do you know what I mean? So this is the thing. This is the thing. A really heartbreaking story. Do you know what I mean? Really, really heartbreaking story, because he's probably a man who's probably working hard. Yeah, he might have 3 flats, but he's probably working hard to get that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, not that he's working harder than anybody else, because everybody works hard. And I hate when people say, "Well, I work hard." Everybody works hard. Do you know what I mean? Everybody works hard. It's just some people are just luckier than others, right? So yeah, so that was another demonstration about the cladding down there. Do you know what I mean? But what did you hear about that? Nothing. Do you know what I mean? Because you know why? Because nobody cares. They're not disrupting, right? So nobody cares. Right, that's the thing. Nobody cares. When you're telling like people like Insulate Britain, basically go elsewhere and have your protest elsewhere. Go and have it somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? These people, they've been banging on about this for 30 years. I see some of them interviewed just yesterday. They've been banging on 30 years about this. Do you know what I mean? And still, they're not getting anywhere. But right. So Rishi Sunak had his speech yesterday. Rishi Sunak, oh God, this is a man who's born into fantastic wealth. Right, went to a 30 grand private school. Right. Got tennis courts and swimming pools up in his house, houses all over the world. He lives a fantastic life, right? But he's just about to take £20 off the lowest earners in the country. Yesterday, yeah, a man phoned the radio yesterday, and he said like he was on, he said after the Tories, yeah, have taken the £20 a week off of him, yeah, he said it's gonna leave him £86 a week, a month, right? Short, right? That's going to take £86 a month off of him, right? And that gives him now £152 a month, right, to live on. And he votes for the Tories. So when he said that on the radio yesterday, yeah, I was driving, but my head was my head was in my hands. My eyes was off the fucking road. Do you know what I mean? Just to think to yourself, seriously, you're living on £152 a month, and you're a Tory. So obviously, yeah, these are benefit Tories. Tories on benefits. It's Tories on benefits. Another man phones, right, and he explained that he was he earns around £1,200 a month, right, and his bills, right, come to 1,300 a month, right? So obviously, with as I said, when I'm doing overtime, yeah, I'm not doing overtime to get it so I can buy anything extravagant or or any he's doing it. He's doing overtime, yeah. So he can actually get to pay his actually bills because he earns less than his bills are every month. So he has to do that overtime, right? And he votes Tory. So okay, fair. I can see how you are a Tory. I can fully listen. You know what? I'm telling you, some people they just can't be helped. Right? Some people they just can't be helped. That's the man who brought in the tax credit system. Sorry, the universal credit system. Right? Sir Iain Duncan Smith. Right? I mean, what can you say about Iain Duncan Smith? Right? Probably the worst ever Tory leader is a toss up between him and William Hague. Right? Worst ever, right? And then, well, the worst ever. Well, none of we could say they none because none of them ever become prime minister, right? So I can still say obviously Boris Johnson worst ever prime minister. You know what I mean? Worst ever Tory leader because I think Iain Duncan Smith they didn't even let him go for to challenge for an election. I think they got rid of him in the meantime, right? But lied about his qualifications, right? A complete, he's the one who brought in this universal credit, right? And it's a complete catastrophe, right? Just a complete, right? And you just think to yourself, seriously, every time I hear his voice, I just think to myself, oh God, this man can chat so much shit. Right, just everything that comes out of his mouth is just rubbish, absolute garbage. Right, massive Brexiter. So was made a sir, right, because of his support for Brexit. So he was made a sir. I said, how's Brexit going? Not very well. Not very well, UK. Not very well. Right. So yeah. So Iain Duncan Smith, right, was apparently attacked with a cone, right? Well, apparently there's some people apparently tried to put a cone on his head, right? They should have tried that shit with John Prescott. He'd have punched the fuck out of him. Right? But Iain Duncan says, "Oh, I was putting up my dukes. I was getting ready to fisticuffs with them. But then I thought about it, and I thought, oh well, I get myself into trouble. Ex-soldier, like Mark Francois. No, actually, he's a TA, but he's TA Mark Francois, right? The soldier man, right? But yeah, so Iain Duncan, apparently someone tried to put a cone on his head, right? I think they got arrested. Do you know what I mean? But Iain Duncan Smith said he was ready to fight up in there with these people. Do you know what I mean? And ready to start kicking some ass. So he said, do you know what I mean? But I mean, God, that'd probably be like fighting a kitten, fight with Iain Duncan Smith. God, that would be a stupid fight. That would be just a really. Could you imagine that? Oh, please don't. Let's not even imagine that because that would be running through your mind all day. Now, do you know what I mean? Right. So Jacob Rees-Mogg now, yeah, was confronted by a young man, yeah, Dominic Hutchins, right, who suffers from cerebral palsy, right. He seemed like such an interesting man, yeah, because he was explaining, listen, what, I've got a degree, right, and he's a youth worker, right, and he's lost his job because of the Tory cuts, right, and he's trying to explain this to Jacob Rees-Mogg, right? In fairness to Rees-Mogg, yeah, who stood there for 6 or 7 minutes, listening, right, but just saying, well, the government's this and and it's the fault of the local council and it's this and this and this, and you think to yourself, serious, right? You've made these people cut all their local services because of you. You've cut all these people's local services. So this man has ended up losing his job. right? And then, right, if you listen to what he's saying, yeah, when he's lost his job, yeah, the benefits people have just said to him, well, don't worry about it, just go on benefits. He doesn't want to be on benefits. He doesn't want to be sat at home with cerebral palsy on benefits. Come on, man, be serious. Right? Man wants to get out there and he wants to work. Right? He got out there and he's got his qualifications. He was born with, he had this from birth. Right? And he was born with this condition. Right? And he's managed to get himself a degree. Right? And and society is, and these people's society, right? This Tory, right? Brexit society, right, has just kicked him back down, right? Where they've taken his job away from him, right? And then they're telling him, oh, you don't worry, just be on benefits, don't worry about it. Just a load of bullshit. And this is the world that's been created, right, by these Tories, right, and voted in, right, by you Tories on fucking benefits. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Well, seriously, what is wrong with you people? Like, seriously, right? You're telling me, right? You looked at Boris Johnson as opposed to Jeremy Corbyn, and you decided to go. You've got a fucking screw loose. Seriously, you people have. There's something wrong with you, right? This is, what this is? It's some hardcore racism. That's what it is. It's real. It's real racism, right? It's just you people are unbelievable. Seriously, there's something wrong with you, right? People working for £1,200 a month, and your bills are £1,300, and you're still voting for the fucking. Are you sick? Right? That's what you people must be. I'm telling you this, right? I'm telling you this, right? You Brexiters, you deserve the Tories. You didn't deserve Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn was far too good for you people. You didn't deserve that. You deserve the Tories. I'm just sick. I'm just pissed that me and the rest of the fucking left, that we've got to fucking live in your shit as well. That's what's fucked us right off, that we've got to live in your shithole as well. Right, when we didn't need to live in this complete shithole. But you have made us live in a complete fucking toilet. Yeah? Like we're all living in Kent. A town that voted highly for Brexit. Now it's a major fucking toilet. Good. Serve the fuckers right. Yeah. So Jacob Rees-Mogg, as I said, in fairness to Rees-Mogg, he stood there and he took it. Right, you could see he was very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. Standing there as a man who's close on a billionaire, right, having to listen to this man, right, speak to him, and where really he's just thinking, oh God, I just need to get away from this man, right? Can't he just settle with some cheap shoes, or go down the food bank? They're uplifting, don't you know that? Seriously, man, and that's the people who you people really want to vote for. Right, people on benefits, fucking, seriously. Do you know what I mean? So, Boris Johnson, yeah, had an interview on STV. Right, and you know something, yeah, Andrew Marr completely humiliated him the other day, right? When he started speaking about like the pig crisis, right? Because Boris Johnson, right, is because Boris Johnson's not on his brief, right? He was basically answering a complete different question, right? What Andrew Marr was talking about. So Boris Johnson basically didn't know what Andrew Marr was talking about, so he made a complete fool of himself in that interview. Do you know what I mean? Because you see, Marr, because the Tories, yeah, have been putting a lot of pressure on the BBC, yeah, not to have anything negative about the Tories. That's what they've been doing, and the BBC is very uncomfortable with this, right? But because that, so now obviously they're going to set Nadine Dorries on them because of all that shit. So that's the reason why, right? But Andrew Marr, right, he's very, very, he's a very good interviewer, right? So he basically led Boris Johnson down a path where Boris Johnson couldn't recover from. So he made himself look like an absolute arse, a real idiot, a complete incompetent. But we all know he's an incompetent. So it's not. So to us on the left, it's not news. But to you Brexiters, you racist idiots, right? You guys know it, and you've You've penciled that in, right, as one of his faults that you're prepared to look over, because you know what, you think to yourself, you know what, he's doing all the racist stuff that we need him to do, right? So you've penciled him in for all this nonsense, right? So this STV like interview was just like, I mean, that was a real car crash. I mean, this young lady, she just, she just took out a £20 note and said to him, like, what could you do with this? Right, apart from burning it in front of a homeless person. She didn't say that, but she should have. I would have said that, right? And he would have got up and walked off if I was being interviewed. If he was interviewed by me, get up and walk out straight away, right? But so she's taken that to man. She said, "What? That's the taxi, a cocktail." And said, "I know why you're taking that £20 note out, because you know about the universal credit, but don't worry about it. Just take the £20 off the fucking lowest earners in the country. Don't worry about that shit. They'll still vote for you anyway." So seriously, just don't worry about it, Bojo, because you know what? These fucking idiots, racist fools, will vote for you anyway. Right? And then, she just smashed them to pieces with the whole Kermit the Frog thing. Oh, God. The most cringeworthy thing, right, a Prime Minister of this country has ever done, right, in a speech. Just the most cringeworthy, right? Just apparently you could hear when he said it. Apparently you could hear a pin drop in the room. That's why when you see him, when he said, "Well, Kermit the Frog," and Kermit the Frog, right? And these guys was just like, "Oh God." Do you know what I mean, right? So I'll tell you, check out that video, that interview on STV, because she just, STV, right? Because she just made a complete fool of this man. As per usual, of course, because that's what happens to Boris Johnson, right? So now we're back with some Brexit news, right? So Brexit now, the Tories have basically just gone back to their old tricks, right? Because where they are, they're back to their old-fashioned racism. Just like where they was, all those years ago, right? When my parents first came to this country, right? When my mum come to this country with her British passport, my dad come with his British passport to this country, right? And the Tories have just come back with just their normal. They've just gone back to where they was, to where they started from, to where they've always been, right? That's why, when I see black and Asian people voting for the Tories, right, you just have, I can explain that to you, right? You see, black and Asian people who vote for the Tories or who vote for Brexit, right, you need to watch a film called Django Unchained with Jamie Foxx, great actor, right? And Brad Pitt, I think, as well, played a fantastic part in it. Because, strangely enough, I'll tell you a little secret about me, right? I have been disturbed, right, from since I watched Roots, right, when I was really young. I was really, really young, and I watched it in the it must have been like the late 80s. Right? I've been disturbed from since then. I could never ever watch. I've never ever watched any movies about slavery. I've never watched like something like 12 Years and stuff. I've never watched any movies about slavery. The first one I've watched is a movie called Django Unchained, right? So as I said, you have to. I'm going to explain all of that to you one day, right? But you have to watch that film called Django Unchained, right? And then check out the part, that Samuel L. Jackson plays in that film, right? And that will explain to you, right, the black and Asian people, right, who vote for the Tories and who voted for Brexit. It will fully explain it to you. Just check out Samuel L. Jackson's part in that film, right? So yes, as I say, the Tories, they're just back to where they was, to where they've always been. Right? Because when my parents came here, right, there's a by-election, right, and the Tories put on a poster, they put, "If you want a nigger neighbour, vote Labour." That's what they put on a fucking poster. Okay? So these people, they never change. That's the reason why they could never, ever get my vote, ever in a lifetime, ever. Because they've never changed. And now, literally, their new slogan is, right, if you want, like, the new slogan is, vote Tory, right, for a higher wage, right, or vote Labour right? And you get uncontrolled immigration. That's how they're coming over now. That's what they're coming over. Just back to the same old dirty, stinking racism. Just the people who they've always been, which is why you dirty, stinking people, right, who vote for the Tories, yeah, you know exactly what you're voting for because you're voting along with all the ex-BNP and ex-National Front. You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly who you are, right? And you people really do disgust me because you know something, yeah, without you in the world would be so much of a better place without your dirty, stinking racism. All of you Brexiters, every last one of yous, right, know exactly what it is you're doing, and what you are is you people are you're just you want to live in a world of hurt and pain and punishment, right? You want to make the world, right, into hell. That's what you this is who you people are, right? You people are just a disgusting set of people, right? And you people need to change who the fuck you really are, right? This, guys, is by any means necessary. I'm the MC John Ribs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.